Part 6. God's People Become Great. Jacob moved his growing household to Egypt. Bags were packed, camels and donkeys were loaded with things, and everyone started out. First came Jacob, the son of Isaac, the grandson of Abraham. Next came Jacob's sons, and then came all their families. 70 people moved to Egypt. By now, God's promise of a great people was really growing. And God's promise kept growing long after Jacob and his sons died. After 400 years in Egypt, God's people had grown into a great nation named Israel. In fact, Israel had so many people that the land was filled with them. Do you think the Egyptians liked having all these people in their land? Pharaoh, the king of the land, hated the people of Israel. Pharaoh hated Israel's God, too. So he treated God's people like slaves. He made them work, work, work. He was so evil that he even killed some of God's people. God's people were in trouble. They cried out to God for help, and God heard them. Do you see the little baby boy? He was God's answer to the people's cry for help. His name was Moses, and one day he would rescue God's people. When Moses grew up, God spoke to him. Moses listened to God, and then Moses did what God told him to do. He went to Pharaoh and said God's words, "Let my people go." But the king said no. He did not listen to God. Moses told Pharaoh that if he disobeyed God's word, terrible things would happen to the Egyptians. Did that make the king decide to listen to God? No. Pharaoh still refused to let God's people go. So, God made the river turn to blood. The entire land swarmed with frogs, and dust turned into gnats. But Pharaoh still refused to let God's people go. So God made the houses full of flies. The animals of Egypt got sick and died, and the people got painful sores. But Pharaoh still refused to let God's people go. So God made hail fall from the sky. Locusts covered the ground, and darkness spread out over the land. But Pharaoh still refused to let God's people go. Can you imagine what it would take for Pharaoh to let God's people go?